If you ever want to hurt anybody, the first step that we naturally take when we want to hurt someone is to emotionally disconnect from them. And that is the story that has shaped and crafted the world, the story we have been telling ourselves until we have arrived at this destination where the human experience is very painful and sad, and to the extent that many persons would want to clock out. Many persons would just want to commit suicide. And what is that story? The story of above lording over below. It's the story of how Western societies oppress African societies. It's the story of how men oppress women. It is the story of how humans suppress their emotion. They choose IQ over 21-day personal leadership retreat organized by our Family Care Foundation. My name is Iku Olokbo, and I am your facilitator. Today we are talking about the moon. Today being Monday, this is the day of the moon, and we are addressing why it is very urgent that we adapt the attributes of the moon. For the past 2 weeks, we have been talking about the light of the seven as the theme of this retreat. And each of these lights, we see the aspect of ourselves that we can adapt to make us really the sovereign beings, or the sovereigns that we should be. And if you look at each of these attributes, it would be easy for you to spot where you are struggling. You may be struggling in your sun, or you may be struggling in your moon, or you may be struggling in your communication, or you may be struggling in how you defend your integrity, or the fruits you bear, or how you carry about in pleasure, beauty, and your sensuality. So today we are focusing on why it is very urgent for a leader to embody their emotion, the qualities of the moon, which is emotion. Our emotion helps us to connect with other people. You see, humanity is a paradox. You are here in your own body, but you can equally be there in another person's body and feel their experience. And the only way you can do that is through emotion. So that is what is called empathy. So for you to hurt someone, the only way you can permit yourself to hurt someone, the only way the Western world can permit themselves to undermine and hurt Africans is for them to emotionally disconnect. The only way men can hurt women and trample on their dignity and treat them as they want is to first of all emotionally disconnect. So you see, and by disconnecting with a human person, you have made them a commodity, you have made them an item, so you can treat them anyhow without feelings. The emphasis of today is feeling. And a good leader, if you are leading yourself, if you are leading your family, if you are leading your nation, a good leader must be able to feel the pain of others, must be able to feel the joy of others. So without empathy, we permit ourselves to treat ourselves anyhow we want. That is why it is very urgent in this time, as we embody the 7 stars, as we embody the 7 planets, as we embody the 7 lights to guide ourselves to adopt these attributes for our personal leadership. It is very important that we begin to feel. If you look at the history and the story of humanity, what has brought us to this very terrible point, just like we were saying yesterday, there is a lot of trust, betrayed trust among people. There is a betrayed trust among men and women. That is why you see men are going their way and women are going their way these days. We hear of that. There's a betrayed trust between nations, and there's a betrayed trust between citizens and governments and all that. And that is because of this top-down relationship we have instead of a symbiosis, equal relationship. Now, if you look at spiritual communities, even in the scientific community, it's a big issue trying to merge this world, trying to reconcile this world. And that is what sovereigns were known for. In the ancient world, even till this day, for you to be a sovereign, one who can stand on their feet, one who can stand with their crown and hold their head high, you must have been able to merge the external world, which is your sun, with the internal world, which is your moon. You see? So for those who think they can create just with their sun alone, with their soul, with the fire, with their burning fire, and they can create by suppressing other people, by using the intelligence of the fire of the sun to deceive people or to enslave people or to use brute or blunt force to get people to do things and find results without necessarily connecting or even paying attention to how they feel, then that's the old way that we have invented to create things. But the new way, and if we continue to go by the rules of the old ways, you see that we are beginning to run out of trust for each other. Most persons, it's very hard to find people to work with these days because there is lack of trust, and that trust is as a result of this top-down relationship. The top is always bullying the bottom. So if you read through history books, for instance, you can't see due credits being given to women for inventing anything. You hear about pharaohs, you hear about kings, you hear about emperors, you hear about prime ministers without having the presence of women in it. In the same vein, you hear about Western nations being great, and all the names the scholarly, when you talk about academics, we talk about scholars, Aristotle and the likes of them. You can't hear African thinkers. You can't hear Africans in history doing anything. Okay, so women in this world, they are undermined the way Africans are undermined, and the way humanity has undermined our emotion. That is what is going on inside of us. We pay more attention to the external glory, the sun, without giving equal attention to the internal mechanics, which is the moon. The moon helps us to feel, and it's not just feeling, it helps us to connect with another person. So you see, empathy is very crucial in this time. For you to lead yourself right, you must feel. For you to lead your family right, you must feel. You must be able to connect and feel what other persons are feeling. That is what emotions do. Okay, so sometimes too, when you hear people having a scholarly debate, they'll say, let's be objective, let's not be subjective. Because if you're subjective, most times you are talking about how you feel inside of you, and there is no way of validating your internal feeling with another person if that person is not empathic, if that person is not connected to you. So most times we find such reasons to suppress our emotion. But take emotion to be our brakes. Let's say emotion of fear, for instance. If you are on a high speed and you are not afraid that you would crash and you keep going, you see, you eventually crash and you get bad results. But our emotion, let's say emotion of fear, is not necessarily bad, but it helps us to slow down and reconsider. So you see, this thing is like it gives us rhythm, where the sun is a straight line and it goes for the objective. The moon it gives us rhythm. It flows, it goes up and down. It's good emotion, bad emotion, it's slow emotion, fast emotion, joy, happiness, sadness, happiness, and all that. So a good leader must be able to connect with other people through emotion. That is why it is very urgent, it is very important in this time for us to be able to lead ourselves right, for us to be able to lead our families right. We encourage that we become empathic. We take on our emotion, not just becoming too emotional, but to find the balance between the external world and the internal world, that is our emotion. We thank you for this time you spend with us. We thank you for sharing our videos. We thank you for recommending young people, and we thank you for the lessons that we share with you, for taking it really seriously. We thank you for engaging us with your time. We hope that all this is going to bear fruit in our lives, in our families, in our young people, and they are going to pick themselves up from where the world has used and left off, and they are going to still build something beautiful and glorious from inside out. Thank you very much for your time, and I see you tomorrow.